Hi everyone and welcome to Club 3 Episode 2 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, Cefn Druids, who are odds-on favourites to win our league this season in Wales, they're having a bit of a tricky start. They're our opponents today. We, on the other hand, 3 wins from 3, looking anything from solid to really good. So we're bound to get thrashed today by them, aren't we? Let's see how we get on. So I am actually quite worried about today's game, if I'm totally truthful. So, if you remember from yesterday's episode, Cefn Druids, they currently sit in 7th on 5 points after 3 matches. We are second, 3 matches in, 9 points, 3 wins so far. Looking, as I say, anywhere from really solid to really quite decent. But that's all setting ourselves up for today's match against this absolutely shoe-in favourites for the title, in theory. And we're going to get dumped on by them, aren't we? They're going to find their form somehow and rock us. It feels like we're away from home at their place as well. So I am a little bit concerned about today's match. But having said all of that, so far it has actually been really, really good. In the last episode, you'll remember that we beat Denby 3-0 quite comfortably. We followed that up with a very good 4-1 win over Holyhead. Llangefni were the follow-up opponents, our first away fixture of this particular season. And we got a 1-0 win away from home, which was pretty decent, really. And so far, as I say, things are going pretty well. We sit second in the league, but we're only there because Flint Town have played their 4th match and taken a 10th point from their 4 games. So we can jump above them again. Guilesford are keeping pace with us so far. They've had 3 wins from 3 as well. But Cefn Druids are struggling just a little bit. 1 win, 2 draws so far. Not quite the form of absolute odds-on favourites for the title. So today is a really big game. So lots of connotations to it. If we were to lose the game, that puts Cefn Druids back within a point of us. And that's going to close that gap tremendously. If, on the other hand, we win the game, we go about 7 points clear of them early in the season and give ourselves a real chance of going on a very good run. All to play for. Let's see how we get on. So in terms of personnel, we've only got one issue, and that's still Curtis Strong. Our left full-back is still out. He's not far from being back in contention for a place. Could play half a game today, but I'm not going to push him to do so. So far, we're looking pretty strong, so I'm not going to rush him back, but he will get into my starting lineup if he plays well when he does get back. So that's something to look forward to. A couple of other things that we've just finished the transfer window, the summer transfer window, and there were a couple of players that took a little bit of coaxing to stay with us. Both Ruben Davies and Jack Howell both had bids placed on them. In the end, we had to put them on slightly better contracts than they were. With Jack Howell, it was the case that he wasn't on a part-time contract. He was on a non-contract with us. So we put him on a part-time contract to keep him. Ruben Davies, we just tweaked his contract a little bit. So those two are going to stick around for a little while longer, it looks like. But you can see there's a couple of other players there that I'd like to tie down to some slightly better deals if they continue to play well this season. We shall see. Jackson is back in the starting lineup now. He was always going to be my first choice right-sided player. Summers deputised for him whilst he was coming back from a little bit of a knock, but he is back in the starting lineup and doing pretty well. Smothers on the left-hand side is one to watch. He's come in for Gammond a couple of times and looked pretty decent, so there's options down the left-hand side. It's all about keeping this run of form going against a really tricky opponent today, though. In terms of our structure of play, nothing has changed at all. No instructions there. We're in balanced. We're very, very middle of the road just while I get to grips with this team. And maybe this will be the way for us to play long term, but I doubt it. I think as the season progresses, if we pick up a few defeats or a couple of mediocre draws, then we will start tweaking these a little bit and just seeing if we can get ourselves on a different path. So that's something to think about for later. For now, though, it's all about Cefn Druids. Those odds-on favourites for the title. Can we absolutely dent that title challenge today? Or will they get back at us? Let's find out. So we're going in with Coughlin in goal, Davies at right back, Ellison at left back, Gill and Grogan in central defence, Woodford and Thompson in central midfield, Jackson on the right, Gammond on the left, and Davies and Howell up top, with a bench of Lewis, Beck, Collier, Wood, Summers, Smothers and Thompson. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So we've gone on the team talk with, we've been on a good run lately. Go out there and impress me again. Just keep the pressure on them to keep moving forward. Keep trying to find those goals that will give us the points that we need to mount a properly serious title challenge. This is not make or break by any stretch. This is an early season game, but it would absolutely place down a marker one way or the other, depending on what this result is, won't it really? And let's see how well we can cope with Cefn Druids. So, an early chance for them. We broke down the play. We countered really well, and we hit the post. Woodford from midfield supporting the play as we moved through the lines and got himself a good position just outside the penalty box. So it was a fairly long range effort, but he did get past the goalkeeper and then hit that woodwork, unfortunately, and they were able to get it cleared. But an early sighter for us, which is really positive, gets us in the game, gets us a bit of confidence up. We are maintaining a reasonable amount of possession, although it's just dipped down below that 50%. It's still fairly even. We've had double their shots at goal, not quite on target though, so that's something we'll have to work on as the game progresses. But half an hour in, another highlight. So it's not been highlight heavy by any stretch. And again, we win the ball back. And Ellison down that left-hand side gets pretty far down the pitch and sets up a really good opportunity. And Cefn Druids were very, very, very defensively poor. They kind of just sort of stood and watched us do all of this. Watch this, Ellison. Nobody challenges him. He gets into the space. He puts it into Howell. Howell, nobody challenges him. On to Davies inside the penalty box, around the penalty spot sort of area. Gets the ball from the delivery and blasts the ball in the back of the net. And if I was the manager of Cefn Druids at this point, I would be absolutely fuming with that defensive display. But I'm not. And it was brilliant for us. They are on the ball now, though, at 38 minutes, the next highlight, and they've broken our lines, got through, tried to chip the goalkeeper, and they don't quite get the angles right, but it is only minutely, and they hit the woodwork themselves, and eventually we get it cleared. So we can breathe a sigh of relief on that one. The quality in front of goal has not been there in this first half, though. There's only been one shot at goal on target for them and two for us so far. We've had plenty of efforts between the two of us, but not quite so many on target. So that is something that we'll have to figure out as we move through this sort of type of fixture. But what I would say is on these sorts of fixtures is about fine margins. And the finest of margins have brought them back into the game. They've broken through the lines again quite easily. It was a long goal kick from Parry, the goalkeeper, into midfield. It kind of, unfortunately, is our own error again. The defender comes out, tries to head the ball clear, gets the angles completely wrong and misses it, which leaves the striker in lots of space behind him. Now one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he slots it past him for 1-1. I think, in theory, that's a fairly fair reflection of the first half. 9 shots at goal for them, 2 on target, 10 and 4 for us. XG ratings, theirs is slightly better, but neither are particularly spectacular, and they had slightly more possession than us as well. So I think a 1-1 draw at this point is pretty fair, but who wants to be fair? I want to win if possible, but one thing that I don't want to do big time is lose if I can help it. So if we need to keep this slightly tighter in parts of the second half to keep this 1-1 at the minimum, then I would certainly consider it. For now, though, the game is definitely there for us to take if we're a little bit brave. So we're going to try and do that in the early section of this second half. So we're going to pump the fists. We've been the better team. Keep doing what you're doing. Whether that's true or not, it's so close in the terms of the margins. I don't think it's a bad team talk to give. And we're going to go into the tactical page and just make one tactical change, and that is to go positive rather than balanced. See if we can get onto the front foot just a little bit and move through the lines a little bit quicker. And to help do that, we'll go into the shouts and we'll just demand more from them at the early stage of this second half as well. And just see if we can get a little bit of something early in this second half. You can see that Cefn Druids have come in fairly defensively, let's face it. That's quite a crowded central midfield area into the defensive area. So they're playing on the counter-attack a little bit. And they've done so pretty well. Not on the counter-attack on that time. They absolutely controlled the ball, swept the ball across the pitch from right to left, and then got the cross in. And it's Edge over that left-hand side that controls the ball. Again, it's a little bit passive on this occasion from our guys as well, just in terms of how we're trying to close down the spaces. And on this near post, as we look at it, Ellison just got outdone on the header and we go 2-1 down. We've got half an hour to play. No need to panic just at the moment. We're still very much in the game. But that is a little bit disappointing that it hasn't quite gone our way. 70 minutes. We're going to pause the game and go and make a couple of changes, both tactically and personnel-wise. And the first thing is we've got an injury for Woodford. So we do have to take him out. So Ben Wood will come in instead and play that last few minutes. He'll come in as the box-to-box midfielder. And then I think we've got to work on our striking a little bit. At least one change has to be made there. So we'll take Howell out and put Thompson in. I mean, there's Ellison on a 6.2, but Curtis Strong, our other left full-back, isn't quite ready yet. Now, Billy Beck can play all the way across the defensive line, but you can see at 16 years old, he's not particularly good. But then some of our players are like that. So I don't really want to chuck him in this particular match, if I'm totally honest. I think we'll work on our attacking options slightly more than we will our defensive options. And so what we're going to actually do is we're going to bring on Smothers for Gammon. Now, Gammon has played pretty well this season, but then so has Smothers when he's come into the team as well. So we'll give him another run out on that left-hand side. And then we are going to change up our tactical style just a little bit. Do I want to Gegen press? It's not something I really want to do at this level of football particularly, or wear out our players quite specifically. But for the last 20 minutes of this particular match, it feels like something that might help us out. Just to pin them in a little bit, get us a little bit more aggressive in closing down the space and closing down the ball and trying to win that ball earlier and get back at them in a quicker way. Unfortunately, though, it's a free kick to Cefn Druids. And I did say before the game I was worried about this performance. And now I'm really worried about it. And it just doesn't surprise me. We've performed really well this season. And you can always see, to my mind, with FM, I think you can always see where one of the really early season favourites isn't performing particularly well. And they have a game against you. Somehow it seems to turn their season around, doesn't it? Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just happening to me because I'm not approaching these games correctly. I don't know. But ultimately, I feel like we were quite structured, quite balanced, not particularly attack-minded for the first part of that game. And when we tried to change that, maybe that was an issue. But we have come back into the game. We've worked the ball quite nicely up to Davis, who switched it out to Jackson on the right-hand side, gets it back again, turns and swivels on the spot. And again, from long distance, nobody really closes him down. That's a theme at this level, it feels like. And ultimately, he gets the shot away. And with 15 minutes to go, we're back to 3-2. Can we find something from this game? We tried to use the presence of Davis to hold up the ball. It didn't quite work. The defenders won that one and came out at us. They should have... What is going on here? They should have, our defence should have cleared that one and sorted that one out. No problems at all. But again, a long-range shot. The goalkeepers in this level, in this particular match, have been absolutely dreadful with closing down the long shots and getting to the ball. They had a lot of time to watch that ball there, and he didn't get anywhere near it. And unfortunately, Cefn Druids have gone 4-2 up. We've got about 8 minutes left, plus a little bit of injury time. So we're going to pause the game again. Obviously, this is not working for us. So we're going to go wide wing play instead, and we're going to try and work round them and get some crosses in. Davies, for example, has got quite a good heading ability at 13, so hopefully we can get him some header opportunities from some wide crosses. To do that, we're going to just push the wingers up into attack mode on both sides. Do I want to actually push them up? I think I might. Let's push them up a line and put them into the attacking midfield area, both on attack, and just see if there's any way in which we can get a couple of opportunities from working these two down the right and the left-hand side. So let's see how we get on with that one. It feels a little bit like clutching at straws at this point, but we're 4-2 down, so we've got to try something. But we're also still just getting used to what this team is capable of, and I would suggest so far what it's capable of is a little bit of poor defensive display against Cefn Druids and a really bad goalkeeping performance that ultimately led to a 4-2 defeat. I mean, the statistics of the game suggest it was close in a number of ways. 18 shots for them, 7 on target, 16 and 5 for us. XG ratings, they were just over the 1 point and they got 4 goals from it. That shows how defensively poor, especially the goalkeeper was. 6.2 rating for the goalkeeper today, and that is nowhere good enough, especially where one of the central defenders in front of him got a 7.1. So he played well. Goalkeeper was absolutely dreadful. And we unfortunately lose quite big time, but I kind of did call it. It felt like it was coming. We were playing pretty well. We looked decent up till this point. But Cefn Druids, who are absolutely shoe-in odds-on favourites to win this title, just looked like they were a little bit of a wounded animal coming in. And they've absolutely put us to the sword. And we lose the game 4-2. Disappointing. So, first thing to say is that Woodford, our central midfielder, is only out for a couple of days, which is positive in terms of his injury that he picked up. So that shouldn't disrupt us too much at all. We've dropped down to third position. What it's done is it's closed up the space for everybody. We've got 8 clubs now after 4 matches that are all within 3 points of each other. It's going to be a tight old season. At this point, it looks that way anyway. The other thing I would say so far is that actually it looks like it's going to be quite a high-scoring league in a lot of ways. There were some big score lines today, like a 5-3, a 4-1, I think, was in there as well from other clubs. It looks like it's going to be quite a high-scoring league, and we might need to find a way to get more involved in that as we go to see if we can sustain our top position in the league. You can see that we've done it in the early parts, 3-0, 4-1, then a 1-0 win, and then that 4-2 defeat just switched it on us a little bit. We've got to find a way to get back to our winning ways first off, but also free scoring ways. We've got some interesting games coming up, some teams that I don't know too much about, to be honest, that we're going to be learning about as we go. To do that, what we're going to do is come back next episode. We're going to give myself a little bit of time. It's early in the season where we did a bit of a double header quite early in the season, just because that Cefn Druids away fixture was quite early and I wanted to see how we coped with them. Spoiler alert, we didn't. So now we're going to give myself a little bit of time just to play a few matches back to back, think about the tactics a little bit, maybe tweak them, come back with something slightly different by the time you and I gather next. So I'm going to play through the rest of September and we're going to come back in early October and play Corwen at home in the JD Cymru North League. So that's going to be the next game for us. We'll check out where they are when we get to them. Between now and then, I've got Porthmadog, I've got Holywell, both in the league and in the cup, and Buckley in the league as well. Hopefully those 4 fixtures will give us a little bit of a chance to tweak the tactics a little bit, find out exactly where we sit, get back to winning ways and not lose too much ground on the top teams around us. But for today, I kind of knew it was coming. I could feel it. It just had that sense to me that we were going to get found out against Cefn Druids on an occasion where maybe they looked a little bit disappointing so far this season. It happened. We lost. It's now about getting back to winning ways. And that's going to do it for today. Disappointed, really disappointed, especially with that goalkeeping display. But there we go. Anyway, Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope we're going to have fun at Colwyn Bay, but just on this occasion, it shows that we have got a little bit of work to do. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That will help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.